You know what the cruelest part of burnout is? It's not the exhaustion itself, it's that you're too tired to do the things that would make you less tired. You know you need to exercise, but you can barely get off the couch. You know you should meal prep, but ordering takeout is all you can manage. You know sleep would help, but you're too wired and anxious to actually rest. You know saying no would give you space, but you don't have the energy to deal with the guilt or the conflict that comes with it. So you just keep going. You keep pushing. You keep telling yourself that once you get through this week, this project, this season, then you'll rest. But that moment never comes, does it? Because the finish line keeps moving, and you're running a race where exhaustion is the only constant. If this sounds familiar, you're stuck in what I call the burnout loop, and the reason you can't fix it is because everything you've been told about recovering from burnout is designed for people who still have energy, and you don't. Burnout isn't just being tired. Tired is when you need a good night's sleep. Tired is when a weekend off gets you back to baseline. Burnout is when sleep doesn't fix anything anymore. You can sleep for 10 hours and wake up feeling like you never went to bed. You can take a vacation and spend the entire time too exhausted to enjoy it, and come back feeling exactly the same or worse. Because burnout isn't a physical problem that needs a physical solution. Your body has been running on stress hormones for so long that it's forgotten how to function any other way. You're stuck in survival mode, and survival mode doesn't allow for rest. It only allows for more survival. Think about the last time you tried to relax. Really tried. Maybe you finally had a free evening and you told yourself, okay, tonight I'm just going to do nothing. But what happened? You sat on the couch, and within 5 minutes, your brain started screaming at you. The to-do list started playing on repeat. The guilt crept in about all the things you should be doing instead. Your body felt restless, like you were forgetting something important. You checked your phone 17 times. You couldn't focus on the show you were watching. You felt more agitated than you did before you tried to rest. That's not a personal failing. That's what happens when you've trained yourself to reject rest as unsafe. The burnout loop works like this. You're exhausted, so your performance drops. Your performance drops, so you feel guilty and anxious. Guilt and anxiety burn more energy. Now you're more exhausted, so you try to compensate by pushing harder. Pushing harder depletes you further, and the cycle continues. The advice everyone gives you makes it worse. Just take a day off. Okay, but what happens when you take a day off and spend the entire day feeling guilty about taking a day off? You're resting on the outside, but internally, you're still running. Just exercise. It'll give you energy. Sure, except you're so depleted that a 10-minute walk feels like climbing a mountain. And when you can't do it, you add failing at self-care to your list of reasons to feel bad about yourself. Just say no to things. But saying no requires a kind of mental energy you don't have. It requires you to tolerate disappointment, to set boundaries, to handle pushback. When you're burnt out, it's genuinely easier to say yes and suffer through it than to deal with the emotional labor of saying no. This is why you can't fix burnout the same way you fix regular tiredness. Regular tiredness responds to rest. Burnout doesn't, because burnout has rewired your relationship with rest itself. You've become someone who doesn't know how to stop without catastrophizing. Someone who feels productive only when suffering. Someone who's convinced that the moment you slow down, everything will fall apart. And the really messed up part? Some of that belief is based on reality. Things probably will pile up if you stop. People probably will be disappointed. Your inbox probably will explode. So your nervous system looks at the situation and says, see, we can't rest. It's not safe. Let me tell you what actually happens in burnout that nobody explains. Your brain starts making terrible deals with itself. I'll rest after I finish this one thing. But there's always one more thing. I'll take care of myself once things calm down. But things never calm down because you keep saying yes to new things while still carrying all the old things. I'll set boundaries next time. But next time you're even more depleted, so you have even less energy to enforce boundaries. So you let even more slide. You start living in the future. I just need to get through this week. I just need to survive until Friday. I just need to make it to vacation. Your entire life becomes about enduring the present to reach some imagined future where you'll finally be allowed to rest. But here's the trap. That future version of rest requires present moment decisions you're too tired to make. The future where you have energy requires you to stop depleting yourself now. Stopping now feels impossible because you're already behind, already underwater, already barely keeping your head above the surface. So you keep borrowing energy from tomorrow to survive today. Except tomorrow never has any energy to lend because you already spent it yesterday. You're operating on an energy deficit that keeps compounding like debt with interest you can never pay off. Your body starts sending you signals, headaches that won't go away, constant low-grade nausea, tension in your jaw, your shoulders, your back. You get sick more often. Small tasks feel monumental. Your temper gets shorter. You cry more easily, or you can't cry at all. Food tastes like nothing. Things that used to bring you joy feel like obligations. And you look at all these symptoms and think, what's wrong with me? And the real question is, what happened to me that made this level of depletion feel normal? Here's the part that's going to make you uncomfortable. You didn't end up here by accident. Somewhere along the way, probably a long time ago, you learned that your worth is tied to your productivity. That rest is something you have to earn. That other people's needs matter more than your own. That stopping is selfish. Maybe you grew up in a household where love was conditional on achievement. Maybe you learned early that being useful kept you safe. Maybe you were praised for being the responsible one, the helper, the one who never complains. Maybe you watched the adults in your life sacrifice themselves and learned that's just what good people do. And now, as an adult, you're living out those lessons. You've built an entire life that requires you to be perpetually depleted to function. Your job needs you to work late. Your family needs you to be available. Your friends need you to show up. Your responsibilities need you to keep going. And you do keep going. But here's what you don't realize. You're not actually going anymore. You're just falling forward and calling it progress. The burnout loop doesn't break because you suddenly find more energy. It breaks when you finally accept that continuing this way is no longer an option. Not because you want to stop, but because your body is going to make you stop whether you like it or not. You know those moments when you're so exhausted that you just stare at a wall for 20 minutes? Or when you sit in your car in the driveway because you can't face going inside yet? Or when you're supposed to be working but you're just clicking between tabs, accomplishing nothing? That's not laziness. That's your nervous system forcing microbreaks because you won't give yourself real ones. Your body is trying to protect you from yourself. And instead of listening, you're fighting it. You're drinking more coffee, scrolling more on your phone, numbing out with TV or food or shopping. Anything to override the message your body is screaming. Stop. So how do you actually break the loop? Because telling you to just rest isn't helpful, and we both know that. First, you have to understand that breaking the burnout loop doesn't start with doing more. It starts with doing less badly. That sounds weird, but stay with me. You're not going to suddenly have perfect boundaries, 8 hours of sleep, a meditation practice, and a meal prep routine. That's the same all or nothing thinking that got you here. Instead, you're going to start making what I call low-energy investments. These are tiny decisions that cost almost nothing but break the pattern of constant depletion. And I mean tiny. So small they feel embarrassing to even mention. Like, sitting down for 5 minutes without your phone. That's it. Not meditating, not doing breath work, just sitting. Teaching your nervous system that stillness isn't dangerous. Or saying, I need to check my calendar instead of immediately saying yes. You're not saying no yet. You're just buying yourself time before you make a decision while depleted. Or eating something, anything, even if it's not healthy, instead of skipping meals because you're too busy. Your nervous system can't regulate without blood sugar. This isn't about nutrition, it's about basic fuel. Or going to bed 30 minutes earlier. Not 2 hours. Not overhauling your entire sleep schedule. Just 30 minutes. Because those 30 minutes might be the difference between coping and collapsing tomorrow. These seem too small to matter, and that's exactly why they work. You're not trying to fix everything. You're trying to stop making it worse. That's the first step. The second thing you need to understand is that rest isn't a reward for finishing your work. Rest is what makes the work possible. You've been treating rest like dessert, something you get after you've eaten all your vegetables. But rest is actually the meal. It's the foundation. Without it, everything else crumbles. This means you have to rest before you feel like you've earned it. You have to rest while things are still undone. You have to rest even when people are disappointed. You have to rest even when your brain is screaming that there's no time. And here's the brutal truth. At first, resting will feel worse than working. It will feel selfish and wrong and terrifying. Your anxiety will spike. Your guilt will be unbearable. You'll want to stop resting and go back to pushing because at least pushing feels familiar. This is normal. This is what happens when you're changing a pattern that's been running for years. Change, even good change, feels dangerous when you're this depleted. You have to rest anyway. Not because it feels good, because it's necessary. The third thing is this. You have to stop managing everyone else's disappointment at your expense. This is the hardest one, because you've probably built your entire identity around being the person who doesn't let people down. But here's what's actually happening. Every time you say yes when you mean no, every time you over-explain or over-apologize, every time you sacrifice your needs to avoid conflict, you're teaching people that your boundaries are negotiable. You're training them to expect depletion from you, and then you resent them for expecting exactly what you taught them to expect. Breaking this pattern doesn't mean becoming selfish or cold, it means becoming honest. I don't have the capacity for that right now is a complete sentence. So is, I need to take care of something else first. So is, no, but thank you for thinking of me. You don't have to explain, you don't have to apologize, you don't have to make people feel okay about your boundaries. That's not your job. Your job is to stop bleeding energy to maintain relationships that require your depletion to function. The fourth thing, and this one's important, you have to give up the fantasy of the future where everything is handled. There's no magical moment where you'll be caught up. No point where the to-do list is empty. No season where you'll finally have time. That future doesn't exist. It's a mirage your brain creates to justify continuing the loop. I'll rest after this project. No, you won't, because there will be another project. I'll slow down after the holidays. No, you won't, because then it's tax season or someone's birthday or a busy period at work or another thing. The only moment where you can rest is now, and now will always feel like the wrong time, because there will always be something undone. That's life. Life is perpetually unfinished. You can either accept that and rest anyway, or you can keep waiting for permission that will never come. This is where you have to make a choice. A real one. Not a I really should choice. A this is actually happening choice. You have to decide that you matter as much as everyone else on your priority list. That your rest is as important as everyone else's needs. That your life is worth living, not just enduring. And when I say decide, I don't mean thinking about it. I mean taking one concrete action today that proves to yourself that you're serious. Canceling one thing. Blocking off 1 hour on your calendar that's non-negotiable. Asking for one extension. Delegating one task. One thing. Not tomorrow. Today. Because the burnout loop doesn't break from understanding. It breaks from interruption. You have to disrupt the pattern with action, even when the action feels small or insufficient. Here's what I want you to understand. Being too tired to fix being tired isn't a personal failure. It's a logical outcome of a system that was never designed to be sustainable. You were never supposed to work this hard, care this much, carry this much, and still be okay. Nobody is okay under these conditions. Not really. The exhaustion you feel isn't because you're weak, it's because you're human, and humans aren't built to run on empty indefinitely. Breaking the burnout loop doesn't mean you'll suddenly have endless energy and perfect balance. It means you'll stop treating depletion as your default state. It means you'll start making decisions from rest instead of desperation. It means you'll remember that you're a person who deserves care, not a machine that's failing to perform. You've been too tired to fix being tired. But here's the truth. You're not too far gone. You're not broken beyond repair. You're just stuck in a pattern that needs to be interrupted, and that interruption starts with the smallest possible step. Not tomorrow, not when things calm down, now. So before this video ends, I want you to do something. Type in the comments, I'm interrupting the loop. That's it, just those 4 words. Not a promise to overhaul your life, just an acknowledgement that the pattern needs to break. Because sometimes the first step out of burnout isn't doing more. It's just admitting that what you've been doing isn't working. You're too tired to fix being tired. But you're not too tired to start. And starting is enough.